Okay. We are on Facebook Live.
Indeed.
Whoop, whoop.
I'm waiting for it to show up for me on my phone.
Good morning.
Oh, I hear somebody.
It was me.
We are on Facebook Live.
I like to watch myself on both screens. Be like, hey, wait a minute, what? Yeah, I'm gonna dye my hair after this. All right.
That's seriously multitasking if you can watch yourself on both screens. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning. I still don't see us. Reagan, you see us, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Becky, welcome. So I'm seeing us. I'm seeing us live. I'm seeing us here on our Zoom. So
yeah, I just shared it.
Awesome. SVS girls, we're excited to be here. A little shout out, Mary Osborne. Hope you're checking in right now. Saw her last night. Oh, Jamie, you just now joined. So welcome.
Thank you. Welcome to myself. Yes, I'm on.
Awesome. All right, Jen, I don't know if you've joined us. Oh, you joined too. All right, so we're live and we've joined ourselves. So we always know we've got 3 people watching. We're excited.
Hey.
But we're getting right into it. There's a ton going on. I mean, like personally, but I mean, some of you are probably already back in school. Me, I've got 1 week left. So by next week, when we're live, okay, 2 weeks from now when I'm live, you'll be amazed. I'll have makeup on, my hair will be done. I'll be like, oh my gosh. I don't know. But in the meantime, I'm like buying school supplies and getting craziness. But that's just like barely anything. I mean, I don't know if all of you know, but Jamie, I mean, if any of us have felt like slackers, we will after today when we hear what's Jamie's going on with her right now. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out what I'm packed for lunches, and she's got other stuff going on. Jay, do you want to share what's been going on with you in the last week?
Yeah, so I got a cool wristband to prove it. This is my hospital wristband. I'm sitting in a Ronald McDonald House at the moment, which has so kindly helped me with internet so that I could join you guys today. My son, so I've got 4 boys. I think a lot of you guys know that, especially ones that are on live. I know everybody that's on live. I have 4 boys, and my third, Noah, has had epilepsy for his entire life. I noticed it first at 4 weeks. Very likely he was having epileptic activity before that, because just this summer they found focal cortical dysplasia on his brain, which really what it is in the terms that I like to use and Noah and I communicate about is we got some cells in the brain when he was a baby, like in utero, that got lost and scared. And so they huddled all together and didn't know what to do, and they just sat there. And because they sat there in the wrong place, then it's caused seizures for his entire life. So they just figured that out this summer. It's very difficult to find the cause of seizures, and sometimes on MRIs they can't figure that out. They figured that out this summer. So we've been down here to Denver several different times, and this last week they were going to take the cells and give them a new home. That's how we described it to Noah, aka brain surgery. So my 7-year-old just had brain surgery on Wednesday morning, and so we're 5 days in with no seizures today. And that's pretty incredible. And I could make it, I like to make it sound like hearts and roses. But the reality is we've got a long road of recovery ahead. And we knew that this was a risk, but he lost his ability to express language during the surgery. And he got motor weakness on his right side. So his right side face, which is coming back alive, but his right side was paralyzed, including the use of his tongue, some of the swallowing mechanisms, and his right arm, right leg. So my husband just texted me before this, said that they were going to the gym for some rehab to practice walking and practice getting on stairs and practice bending down and starting to wake up his right side. So this last week has been all about Noah's new life, whatever that means. So very grateful for where we are now, and certainly looking forward to what's to come. And like I said, I don't want to make it sound like hearts and roses and be all smiles and jokes, because it isn't smiles and jokes all the time. But I can say I was just talking to both of these girls last night at different times, Reagan and Jen, and admitting that had this been our course and our journey 5 or 6 years ago, I wouldn't be on here to have a conversation. I just don't feel like I had the spiritual faith muscle in me at that time. I don't feel like I had tools in my tool belt that God has like supernaturally put in my tool belt to handle those things. In fact, in 2013, I remember it super, super clearly. It was December 23rd. And I was laying on my wood floor, and it was cold. And I just remember the specific feelings. The wood floor was cold, and so I was shivery feeling. And my husband was gone. He worked retail, so it was just me. And I was looking out of the windows, and it was pitch black. And I was holding my son, who's now having, just had the brain surgery, holding him in my lap, who was having multiple seizures over and over. And they had been gone for 8 months. I thought that we had figured out the cure, and they came back with a vengeance. And I'm laying there on the floor with his head in my lap, and tears just dripping down in his hair. And I just remember feeling so hopeless, because they had been gone, they came back. I had just lost my job 2 weeks before that. Christmas was in 2 days. And my fourth baby was only a couple weeks old, and he had some medical issues at the time. So loss of job, loss of dreams, loss of income, loss of hope. And for the next year after that, I didn't know how to move forward. I was stuck in every way that I could. I mean, obviously, it's apparent probably with just the story, but I couldn't figure out how to move forward. I had dreams and plans and hopes, but I couldn't change things. I couldn't fix things. I couldn't control things. And I was super, super frustrated. So why I bring up this story, I mean, I wouldn't sit here and talk about brain surgery and all this stuff, because it's not easy to talk about and it's not easy to listen to. And I certainly, my intention is not to make Reagan cry.
Too late.
Right. But I tell you this because I say our because Jen has other stories, different circumstances, but I'm going to tell you that the result and the tools that I mentioned that went in the tool belt, the result has been very parallel. And it leads us to this 6-day challenge that you've seen us start to put on our page, because what is in that 6-day challenge is some of what God gave me in that time of being stuck. And when Jen and I, swapped stories and shared our life experiences, we realized that what was in her tool belt was very similar to what was in mine. Came through totally different circumstances, but we had some similar things. And we thought, well, shoot, if that's what you got in that time, and I think so-and-so was saying the same thing during her time, then these are things that we can practically give to other girls that maybe you're not dealing with epilepsy and seizures or loss of a job. Maybe it's something completely different. Maybe your husband had an affair, or maybe you were, I don't know, like in Jen's situation, maybe your house burned down. The girl, looking at Jen here, she was totally evacuated from her home last week because there were forest fires around her home. And there's people in her community that lost their home. So, I don't know.
Compare now, Jamie. Kind of hard to compare.
I don't know. Maybe they had some forest fires going on. I don't know what your fire is. I don't know what your stuck situation is. Maybe it's something just small and annoying. Maybe it's just you've applied for some jobs and you're not getting the jobs that you were wanting, and that can be frustrating. I don't want to say that that's small. I don't mean to minimize anything. Maybe you're thinking it's small, right? I don't think anybody's pain small, but maybe you're thinking it's small. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're stuck. if you're frustrated, if you're spinning your wheels, if you're discouraged, if you're borderline hopeless. I mean, I was totally hopeless. I mean, maybe there was a thread there, maybe, but there were days that it wasn't. So I don't know what your stuck is, but we really feel like the tools that we have now in our tool belt to make me able to be where I'm at with you today, to share this stuff in the middle of what's going on, we want to give that to you.
Absolutely.
So I know, Jen, you were relating to that last night, about the parallel tools and stuff in your own circumstances and
right.
Past stories.
Well, certainly not brain surgery versus evacuation. They're not quite. In fact, the times living in the trailer down by the river that everybody got to witness last week. Perspective is everything. In fact, our pastor was just saying that yesterday, of how your attitude creates your altitude, right? And perspective is such a gift. And I thank God for Noah the last few weeks just with this fire, because every time I thought I was just like, this is so hard, I'm thinking, really? The house can be rebuilt. We have a trailer to stay in. All of our kids are good. Yeah, whatever, things can always be worse. Because I have been in those hospital situations, not exactly the same, but that helpless feeling of watching your child and not knowing the outcome, not knowing okay, is this going to be wrapped up in a pretty bow and we're going to go home? And if you're stubborn at all, you are put in a position, and it doesn't have to be a child being hospitalized. Like Jamie said, it could be, maybe you've had past abuse that's kind of bubbling up now. Maybe, like Jamie said, maybe you had an affair. Maybe you are married to, I shared my story the last couple of weeks, a man that deals with depression. These are a lot of things that society just doesn't talk about, and especially within the church, but there's something that rises up that you are forced to surrender at some point. So you can be stubborn all you want, but you are going to come to a spot in your life where self-sufficiency is not going to cut it. And I think, Jamie and I both, and I'm sure Reagan too, we're very stubborn. We've got this self-sufficient, stubborn streak. I can do it. I can handle it. Watch out. I've got this, right? And not that God sees humor in having us fall flat on our face, but I do believe that there's something very gracious about him allowing that to happen so that we don't continue on that path. And I know for me, oh my gosh, Jamie and I have so many stories, and we'll share those for the 6-day challenge. I'm not going to tell all of the stories right here, but, I found myself definitely on a path where you have this big thing that happens to you and you think, okay, I got through it, right? We did this. I relied on some scripture. I prayed. We got through it. And that's going to be my big story. Not big story, but you're like, okay, that's my overcoming. That's it. So now we're good to go, right? Like, we really only have one thing we should overcome every lifetime, right?
That'd be sweet.
And then you have kids.
Yeah. And then you wake up, right?
Yeah.
But I quickly learned in the last 5 years, there are going to be a lot of things that you have to overcome. And I don't know about you, but I had this like stake in the ground where I thought I was on the right path. And I thought I knew how to overcome things, but I kept hitting these roadblocks, and it was roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. And I thought I had figured it out. I'm like, okay, I got this figured out. This was why, I pinpointed the entire problem on this one thing, and I figured out that thing, and I fixed that thing. So we're good to go. And then the next life thing happens, and it's a different roadblock. And I'm thinking, why can't I figure this out? I mean, especially when I turned 40, it's like, aren't we all supposed to have our stuff together by now? Like, shouldn't I have it figured out by now?
So I was just writing this morning for my other business about planning, and I kind of realized how sick in the head I am. As I was writing, I just discovered this, like, oh my gosh, I love office supply stores, and that's kind of sick. So anyway, I was writing about planning and writing about goals and in setting up the course. And that's been my MO since I was tiny, you guys. Like that, honestly, God wired me that way. I didn't practice it. I didn't learn. I didn't read a book. I didn't go to school or take some classes on how to be this way. And the story that we always, my parents, my family, we always like to tell us that I was planning my birthdays. My birthday's in November, but I'd plan them in September. And it wasn't just, oh, I'm going to have a whatever themed birthday. I would write out grocery lists, timelines, and itineraries, to-do lists, and everything, and I'd give them to my mom, and she would help to resource that, and I would literally do the whole thing. And I remember that the one specific birthday of freaking out because things were not going according to itinerary. And I say that in just because I look back and go, that's so funny. I mean, it's just so silly. But you know what? It showed up as an adult. It showed up because I think somebody like me, an achiever, I mean, if we can kind of put ourselves in that kind of common box for a minute, because I think that there's some other achievers probably listening, where you set up the course.
Yeah.
Do the right things, right? Mm-hmm. I like things that go A plus B gives you C.
Right.
And I really tried to put God in that box too.
Absolutely.
Jamie does A, Jamie does B, and God does C. And I laugh at that now. I mean, this sounds so stupid, but I don't want to say that it's stupid though, because I think that there's some of us that are wired so much for outcome, that are wired so much to work, achieve, move on, right. The next thing. And I realized that in and of itself, when I found myself in my broken itinerary, how it really messed with me, you know, and that feeling of stuck, like, oh, this is not what I planned, and A plus B is not C.
This was not in the itinerary.
Yeah, like if C never happens, watch out, you know. And that's where I found myself. I found myself like that in multiple different settings, not just the story that I just shared, but in multiple different times where you're like, I've done everything that I'm supposed to do.
Right.
You know, I've done everything that my pastor would tell me to do. I've done everything that I would counsel other people to do. I've done everything my best friend has said that I should do. I've done everything that I think the Bible has told me to do. Like, I've done it. Right. Where is it? You know? So that's kind of the stuck that it doesn't matter the circumstance. You can feel that way.
Right.
For a variety of reasons. And that kind of stuck, that kind of frustration of spinning, going nowhere. I'm just a hamster. Can be incredibly disheartening.
Wow, you just described laundry day at my house.
Laundry, period. It never stops laundry. It's always going and always behind.
Well, and that we haven't even had many comments coming too, but why we are live, if you have if there's something you just feel like you've been doing over and over and this is almost like at a point where you're just feeling like you're going a little crazy. It doesn't,
Day.
Yeah, let's just, what would be a good emoji? I don't even know. You're so good at that, Jen. What emoji are we dropping? Would you like a 1 or a 2 or?
The big eyes.
The frustrated face.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. Drop that in the comment box. But I was just thinking, listening to both you guys talk, and I mean, you kind of helped even with that. Because personally, and I mean, just by the grace of God, we haven't had a major, me personally, I haven't, my house has never burned down. I live where there's earthquakes.
My house did not burn down, by the way, you guys. In case I'm in my house.
But I mean, pretty much I'm in California waiting for the big one. And in the meantime, it's just like a little gentle massager whenever it does, little things hit here and there. But I still felt like once you started talking about, that idea that, we're out there and we're just doing life. And sometimes it just feels like, how in the world am I still just doing what I'm doing and not feeling any different? You know what I mean? And so because when you're talking about this 6-day challenge, And just so everybody knows, like, they didn't give me a lot of the details because they wanted, when they talked about it, me to be able to ask the questions that you might be thinking. So, you know, don't be like, why is she going to ask this? Does she know? I don't know. That's the point. All right. Okay, head on down with the shop, kids. Kids. Yeah, I'm stuck. I don't know how to lock my doors and keep them out. So with that 60-day challenge, are we talking like, you know, does it have to be something major that somebody's gonna be able to get something out of? Like you mentioned, you know, I mean, obviously child with brain surgery, you know, major things that have happened.
No.
Is it?
No.
No?
Not at all. Not at all. In fact, a lot of times, like when Jamie and I were comparing our stories and we realized there was these common denominators of like, oh my gosh, that is exactly what I discovered as well. We also have businesses where we were in a position of helping other women as well. Mm-hmm. And we started to see those common denominators in their stories. Yep. And so this could be, you know, really in life, it's not those really big things that end up taking you out. It's the little things, you can be off in your thought processes. You can be off in your mindset. You can be off in how you react to things, how you absorb things, what your perspective is. You can be off just by the tiniest thing and be thinking you're on the right path. Like Jamie said, like I'm doing this and I'm doing this and out pops this and out pops that. It could be happening that way for a while. So you think what you're doing is correct, because you are getting the result that you want. Mm-hmm. So it could be anywhere from little things that are jabbing at you, like your marriage is just out of sync. Maybe you just keep doing the same things and you think you know what the roadblock is, but it's just maybe off. You guys are not unified. There's no unity in your household. Or it could be your parenting. Like I'm reading all the parenting books. I've removed what I thought were roadblocks, and I'm still struggling with this same issue in my parenting. It could be.
How about weight loss, ladies?
Weight loss, right?
You had to go there. You had to go there. All right.
Yeah, that's my other life, right? That's the stories that I hear all the time, is women feeling stuck there, that they've done everything that they can do, that they know to do, and they're just, you know, and it can still lead you. Even these things, you know, it doesn't have to be like catastrophe today. It doesn't have to be brain surgery today that leads you to the same place that frustration over time leads you.
Yep.
Small frustration over time can feel like brain surgery in the moment. You know, it can feel like pull your hair out. I'm frustrated. I'm discouraged. I'm feeling depleted. I'm feeling confused even, you know. Right. I mean, I asked God, I'm like, okay, look, it's your fault. You made me that planner itinerary girl. And I know it because of how I was when I was a kid. Like, I did not come up with that business. So I've heard that you don't make mistakes. I mean, this is me back when I was having my attitude, you know. I was like, I've heard you don't make mistakes, but it kind of seems like maybe it is, because you want me to give up the planning yet. Yeah, no, it wasn't about giving up the planning at all, actually. There's just some other things that he was like, hey, let's just a little shift, you know. So no, I mean, it doesn't have to be anything major. It can be just kind of that little.
Well, once you hit weight loss, and whether we're talking weight loss or firming up, I mean, pretty much now you've covered every woman out there. I mean, I'm speaking for the majority, right? But so, I mean, exactly like, so I'm just thinking the questions that my peeps would be thinking, and that I'm sure all the SVS girls out there are. I mean, how much time is this? Because we know that the majority of us, I mean, we're still struggling to even log on live and to watch our replay. So like, how much time commitment are we talking here? Is this free? I have to sell one of my childs to do this, but at least I'm unstuck. I've got one less kid. I mean, what are we looking at here?
Free.
Yeah, it's free.
Free. Okay, free.
I have a question for our SBS viewers. Who feels busy right now? So just put a 1 in the comments. If you feel like you are busy right now, put a 1. I know for me, I just dropped off my freshman to high school this morning. And we've got 3 more that are going, or I've got a sophomore that is starting, and then 3 more that are starting on Wednesday. This is such a small time commitment. We're talking 5-10 minutes a day. 10 minutes max, really.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Get that in writing.
Seriously. And we have things that help you apply it, things that help really drive it home for you and that you can apply just in the car. As you're in the car is really where most of our life is. But yeah, super. Yeah.
I put the link in the comments. If you go there, there's a little short video of Jen and I, and then underneath there's kind of some bullet points of what to expect. And it'll give you a little bit of time frame there too. So you can kind of look at, practically speaking, what's your investment. Nothing financially, small sliver with your time.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, I absolutely love that you guys have taken the time, because I think it's like a certain mindset and a special gift that God gives ladies that can go through difficult things in the moment and look back, reassess, and not even just reassess and say like, wow, I'm so glad that I'm not in that place now, but to be like, okay, I was in that place. It seemed like I'm seeing the cycle. Here's how I broke out of it. Because my brain doesn't make like that. I don't make lists. I'm just like, oh my gosh, tomorrow's my birthday. Let's call Jamie and see if she can throw a party for me. All right. So I appreciate, I know for me, the way that I grow, the way that I'm going to change, the way that I'm going to like move on in my walk with God, in my marriage, in my life, is being surrounded and encouraged by people. This gifting is not my own. And I'm excited about this challenge. I can do 10 minutes a day. All right. Yeah. I mean, honestly, like I feel like I've got a very slim window. Once school starts, who knows? I mean, I could be coming live from you in my swimsuit in my backyard. Okay. We'll just see if that happens. So I'm encouraging all of us that are watching, all of the SVS ladies, let's utilize these two women that are so detailed, that are going to not only just like walk through these amazing things, just be able to tell us like how to changes in our life. 6 days, 6 secrets, right?
6
You want to give one like partial secret right now, or is that like, you really want us to like, yep. See, I would. See, ladies, if I was doing it, you'd already have them all. I'd be like, oh, I just got to tell you.
I will give you one hint. I will give you one hint.
All right. Yeah, fun.
Here's the hint. I was just talking about alluding to earlier how, it's not necessarily those big things. It's the little things that keep happening. We have such a heart to meet people where, and we've been saying that for a while, to meet people where they're at, and especially women that are where we were at 10 years ago. So here's the secret to what we have to reveal to everybody in the 6-day challenge is Jamie and I have to keep each other accountable to these 6 things to this day. And if one of them is off, God forbid if all of them are off, we're screwed. But if one of them is off, it really sets the tone and gets us off kilter for everything. So it's not something that is like, I took the 6-day challenge and now I'm good. All right, children, let's go. Here's, got my pearls on, making dinner. It's not, it's like, this is real life. And this is stuff that we have to, but this is a fight. We're in a fight, and neither Jamie and I want to see women, especially, sit back and be reactive to their life, apathetic to their life, and give up, because that's where it will lead you if you don't get these 6 things implemented. You will want to give up because life is not going to stop hitting you. I mean, not to end it on a bad thing, but
but what you said is so true. So SVS, it's a community. That's what I need.
Yeah.
To lose weight, I need people to encourage me to make a change, to be consistent, to grow. And that's, again, we came back to the heart of why why She's Velvet Steel even exists. It's not just for us. I like to see myself live, I must admit. But it is for us to all come together, access the resources that God and the abilities and gifts that God's placed in each one of us, and then encourage each other on. So I'm excited. This is going to probably be one of our digging is deep that we've started so far. And you got to sign up to do it. So actually, I got to get myself signed up. So please post it on, take your friends, even some of your friends that haven't attended anything, be like, yeah, you never checked out anything, but here they can still do the challenge. Okay. Right. And it's free. So tag them in this post. I'm going to start tagging mine, I'm working and we're
going to give away some fun stuff too. So share the video. Share the video, and you can do it together. And that's the cool thing about it too, is grab a girlfriend and go through it together so you can hold each other accountable to it.
I'd say it's better together. It's better together. When you said, that Jamie and I hold each other accountable to these things, here's a little hint. I was applying, because these are tools, right? 6 steps, 6 tools, 6 secrets, whatever you want to call them. I was applying, I'm going through them in my mind.
Right.
At least 3 of them in the last 6 days to get me through what we've been going through. Yeah. And I apply them when I'm going through hard things. And I apply them when I wake up in a funk. I apply them when my kid's driving me crazy. I apply these things for little things and big things. All of them keep me moving forward in the direction I want to be going.
Right.
So, yeah.
And apply them when things are going good, too.
Totally, yeah. The application part is my favorite part. I mean, what's a plan without application? And so I don't just like to make planners and make them cute and pretty and that kind of thing. I like to do what's on the planner. That's the other sick side of me. But our goal is not just to go, I know, like, what is wrong with her? Our goal is not to just be like, aren't these nice ideas? Aren't these nice stories? That's just not going to cut it for me. I love hearing stories, but like, I'm always about the takeaway. Yeah. And so every single one of those 6 things, you will be able to do something with it. And it's not going to be time intensive doing in terms of your day, but you will need the tool for the rest of your life.
All right. Well, these 2 ladies are butt kickers. So if you haven't signed on, I know I need that. All right. They encourage support, and they're I know, Becky, you said you need to be a better planner. Me too. So let's hook on to them and lock arms and do it.
Yeah. So,
all right.
Hey, Selah. Okay, links below, you guys. I'm gonna go over to the hospital. It's time to talk to some doctors. So,
okay. Prayers for you, Jamie. We love you.
Yes, thank you. Love you guys.
Bye. Bye, guys.